Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be part of my brother's kids' lives? My brother died at 29 roughly 4 years ago. He left behind a wife, 32 female, and 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, aged 6, 7, and 9. Me and my brother were never close. No, my brother was downright hostile to me. There was significant age difference between me and him, roughly 9 years. I'm currently 24, and I think he was always jealous of me and resented me for being born. I think he had been an only child for too long. Regardless, all my time with him was horrific, and he ruined most of my youth. This did not change when he was an adult either. He did not recognize me as his brother, and would full-on ignore me whenever he was over, even during holidays like Christmas. To the extent where he would buy everyone gifts, from our parents to distant cousins, apart from me. My life improved when he finally moved out. However, our relationship never improved. I was not even invited to his wedding. Not that I minded at the time, to be honest. I was also only told after the fact by my parents when his kids were born. I never met them when he was alive. He ended up getting cancer and passed away a few months after his diagnosis. During this time, according to my family, he was extremely apologetic, regretted his actions, and asked me for quite a lot. I never ended up visiting. And before you ask, no, I do not regret that at all. Regardless, he wrote me a letter which my parents gave me after he died as he had asked them to do. The letter was a long apology, and him imploring me to look after his kids and help his wife. I ended up going to his funeral, mostly to support my parents, where I met his kids and wife. Since that moment, I have had his wife reach out to me a lot over the years asking me to help. Babysit, spend time with her kids, you name it. I've always declined/ignored it. At this point, my parents also got involved, imploring me to help out, as I am the only young male role model these kids will ever have. Brother's wife does not want to remarry, has no male relatives. It might add is in his 70s. Of course, they know what my brother wanted and care for their grandkids, so I get where they're coming from. And I do feel bad about it. I just want to see what people from the outside think. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Relationships need to be fostered, even familial ones. None of them can expect you to take on the role of uncle when they were all complicit in your brother's behavior of outright ignoring you and excluding you from his own family. Well, I don't blame his kids for that, just to be clear. Of course not. However, the wife and your parents allowed this to go on. I think it's wrong of them now to push or expect you to now play the uncle role. It struck me that Opie said when his former sister-in-law reaches out for him to help somehow or to babysit. If that is an accurate description of what's being asked of him, I think it's crampy and one-sided. Not the a-hole. I wonder why your parents didn't intervene with his behavior towards you earlier. You are an adult, and it is your life, your choice. They're very peacekeeper-ish. I'm not trying to make it okay, but between my brother and his kids and me, I can see why they try to keep everyone close instead of just picking sides. But I certainly think they let my brother get away with way too much. I agree, and that is the problem. Sometimes a person needs to speak up for people being bullied. The silence enables them. I agree, and my relationship with my parents is not the best, in large part due to the past. But as I said, I get where they came from at the time. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out of my husband's birthday dinner when his sister was complaining about her fertility? My husband's parents threw my husband a birthday dinner at their home last Saturday. During dinner, his sister announced she was pregnant with her 6th child. Everyone congratulated her, and my husband grew quiet. He and I have been trying for a baby for 7 years now, and only just saved the money for IVF. Once the commotion about the new member of the family settled, my sister-in-law started her usual commentary on how much it sucks to be so fertile, and how she feels like she'll just never be able to stop having kids because the pill and contraceptive injection both failed, and how she's not a good fit for an IUD. By the time she pointed out she's been pregnant so often that they don't even need to have full action anymore for her to get knocked up, I couldn't take it anymore, and I walked out. My husband followed me, and I could see he was holding back some tears too. He apologized for saying nothing. I said he didn't need to, that he was obviously struggling too. By the time we made it home, his parents had called to say how sorry they were, and how none of that was meant to happen. His sister, on the other hand, called me a killjoy and a drama queen, and she told me it was rude to walk out after all her parents' hard work and for spoiling the celebration of a pregnancy. I hung up on her, Don't want to cry because her words stuck in my head. Since then, she and my husband got into a fight because she called me selfish and said I made a dinner about me instead of them. I wish I could feel she's totally wrong, but I worry she's right. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Wait, you spoiled the celebration for the pregnancy? Funny, I could have sworn it was a celebration for your husband's birthday. Definitely not the a-hole. She basically brought an FU to her brother's birthday instead of a gift. And doubled it, between stealing the limelight and bragging that her husband can get her knocked up easily. Not the a-hole. It was a birthday dinner for your husband. Not a me, I'm pregnant again, it's all about me. I think she did it to ruin your dear husband's celebration, and they should have said something to her. Not the a-hole. The next time she says something, ignore the hell out of her. Not the a-hole. 1. Tell her husband to get a vasectomy. 2. I wish you guys the best with IVF. It's a very long emotional process, and I wish you nothing but all the happiness in the world. Not the a-hole. It wasn't a dinner to celebrate her pregnancy. It was your husband's birthday dinner, but she made it about her. Right. Massive projection for her to accuse Opie of making the dinner about her. I don't think the sister can see past the tip of her own nose. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not hosting a baby shower for my estranged daughter-in-law? I think a bit of background may be required for this one. I, 60 female, have 2 sons and a daughter. The people in question here are Dave, 35, and his wife, Liz, 29. Basically, I have a relationship with Dave, but none at all with Liz. Dave was married before and has 2 children, 11 male and 9 female, with his ex-wife, Cassie. Cassie unexpectedly died in January 2020, about 2 weeks before Dave and Liz's wedding. Liz and I had a falling out over the children attending the wedding. They said they did not want to attend, but Liz demanded they be in the wedding despite the fact they had just lost their mother and could have stayed with Cassie's parents that day. Dave gave in to Liz's demand, and the kids attended. Then Liz says they ruined the wedding when they refused to walk down the aisle and then cried at the reception. I defended my grandchildren's behavior because they were grieving, and Liz was very angry that I did not try harder at the wedding to get them to behave. They were in my care for the day. After the wedding, Cassie's parents and my husband and I started taking our grandchildren more often because they did not want to be at Dave and Liz's house. My son works long hours, so they would mostly have to be with Liz. Liz does not like that we pick up our grandkids when they call us, and maybe we are undermining her parenting, but she does often fail to cook dinner, take them to therapy or after-school activities. She is now expecting a baby in November and will be having a baby shower in a few weeks. I was not invited, but I have not told any of my extended family about the issue with Liz, or the fact that I was not attending because I feel like my family is also Dave's family and can form their own opinions. Recently, word got out that I would not be there. I'm not sure how, and family started to question. The reason got out there, and my family is now very angry with both Dave and Liz. They are refusing to attend the baby shower, and I guess the guest list went from over 60 to under 20. Liz and family have decided they are fine with us because they do not have to pay for as many guests. But now Liz has called my daughter and demanded that we, daughter and I, host a shower for her. And she might stop by if she is feeling up to it, but will come to pick up the gifts after the shower to show the family that we are all on good terms. Not actually true. I might be the a-hole because we declined. And now that people know we are estranged, I am sort of happy that I don't have to pretend to like her anymore. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your daughter-in-law sounds super entitled. Who the heck demands a baby shower from anyone? Yikes. The same person who made 2 grieving children go to a wedding 2 weeks after their mom died, and then got upset that they were crying at the wedding. The real question is, why doesn't the father protect his own children from this woman? Not the a-hole, and frankly, your son is no peach either the way he treats those kids. Yes, he is an enabler to all of her problematic actions. I am most disgusted by the fact that he chose to force the kids to attend the wedding instead of dropping Liz. He chose Liz over the well-being of the kids. Both of them should not have custody of the kids. I hope Opie can get custody of the grandkids. Especially since it sounds like Liz is neglecting them. What kind of parent, buy or step, is okay with an adult trusted to watch kids forgetting to cook them dinner, or bring them to therapy, or get them to after-school activities. Especially as kids who have lost a parent. Those are all very important for the emotional health of the kids. Not stay home. Who forced children into a wedding after their parent died? Then neglect them. She only wants you to do that so she can cover up her mistakes, like being super disrespectful to you. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for walking out of my sister's baby shower party after she had me babysit the kids? My brother and his wife are expecting their 5th child together. Last week, her sister threw a kids-friendly baby shower party and I was sent an invitation. I, 21, looked at the date, and even though I had an upcoming exam but also not close with my brother's in-laws, I decided to make time to attend since my sister-in-law wanted me there so badly. I arrived at the party and there were plenty of kids. I took a seat and watched as the kids made huge noise and disrupted the party atmosphere. That includes sister-in-law's kids, of course. Sister-in-law and her sisters were becoming frustrated. That's when sister-in-law took all the kids upstairs and told me to follow her. She had them go into the guest room and asked me to watch them for a few minutes till she returns. I told her thanks, but I wasn't up for it. She said, just 5 minutes, silly. Don't act like kids are terrifying creatures. So I said, okay, 5 minutes. She shut the door and was gone for 5, then 10, then 12 minutes. The kids were already making noise. So I called her phone and she told me she was coming. I waited 5 minutes, then another 5. I went downstairs to speak to her, but she saw me, pulled me aside, and told me to go back upstairs and watch the kids. I said, why? I'm here for the party, not to babysit. She insisted and pressured me, which made me upset, so I told her no. I wasn't going to be stuck in a room with over 13 kids to babysit while she and family have fun downstairs. I'm not even good with children. Yes, I love my nieces and nephew, but managing over 13 kids is a lot, and is not an easy task for someone like me. I took my jacket and I said I was leaving. She begged me to come back, but I just walked out. My brother was livid as she told him I walked out, and he said I shouldn't have, and called me unsupportive and negative to walk out the way I did and embarrassing his wife in front of guests. I told him about the 13 kids she set me up to babysit, and reminded him I had important stuff to do but still found time to attend, just so she could isolate me in a room while she celebrates? Now he and my parents wanted me to apologize for my rudeness and for messing up the event for sister-in-law. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. First, after 5 kids, who has a baby shower? Second, they should have made plans for childcare if they wanted a kid-friendly shower, and that doesn't mean you. Everyone else is the a-hole here. But not you. This, not an a-hole. Having a shower for a 5th baby is insane, but then expecting you to be free childcare without even asking is ludicrous. If they wanted adult time to celebrate the new baby coming and enjoy each other's companies, then they should have had the husbands watch the kids, or hired some young teenagers to keep them occupied. Right, what could you possibly need when you already have that many kids? No one in their right mind wants to watch 13 kids, even if you love them. Not an a-hole. No one wants to get stuck watching a dozen kids for free instead of being a guest at a party. If they want you to be the sitter, they should have asked you, paid you, and had an assistant for you. I'm pretty sure there is no babysitter in the world willing to babysit 13 random kids of all different ages in one tiny room, no matter what to pay. If that person exists, they deserve a medal and hazard pay. Not an a-hole. If it's a kid-friendly party, then in my opinion there are 2 choices. 1, you arrange the entertainment/care for the kids, or 2, everybody tames and keeps an eye on their own kiddos. Last story. Am I the a-hole for leaving a family gathering because my family made me sit at the kid table? For context, I haven't seen my full family together in quite some time, so they set up a get-together at a park today. The family gathering includes me, 22 male, my brother 21, my sister 25, her husband 29, and their 2 kids, my dad, stepmom, their kids 6 and 9, aunt, uncle, my 2 cousins 15 and 20, then grandma and grandpa. I get there with some picnic items. I brought a quiche and the cups, and see a few members setting up. I say hi, and help set up the tables and set the food out. We talk and play games while the others show up. When everyone gets there, we sit down to eat. sit next to my dad, then gets a weird look from my aunt as she says to me, "This is the adult's table." To which I reply, "I am an adult?" She then tells me that the first and second generations are considered adult, and the third and fourth generations should sit at a kid's table, since we don't have much to contribute to adult conversations. I tell her that I can drink, that I drove here, that I pay and have a job. So how am I still considered a child? She says that until I have kids of my own, I'll have to sit at a kid's table. According to my aunt, there are 8 children, ages 6 to 22, and 8 adults, ages 25 to 75. So I should just sit at a kid's table since it'll be even. But there's plenty of space at the adult table, and I don't want to be stuck with 5 literal children. She still disagrees. And at this point, my uncle and grandparents back her up. So I say, screw it. Take my quiche back, tell them to have a nice day, and drive away. I get a few texts telling me to come back by my dad and grandparents. I ask if aunt is going to apologize, and they ask for what? That was enough for me to disregard their other messages and calls until I got home, where I am now. I feel horrible that I may have possibly ruined a nice family gathering, but feel my family doesn't respect me at all enough to say that I am still a child, and apparently have the same mentality as 6-year-olds. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I love you took your quiche with you too. It tastes sweeter for some reason. Not the a-hole. Your aunt is totally an a-hole. They probably want you at the kids' table to play babysitter. I would have left too, to be honest. I'm surprised my brother accepted it too. He's 21. I understand my cousin's situation though, since she's my aunt's daughter and it's not like she's going to talk back. If I stayed, there would have been 3 people over 20 at the kids' table. What? You're really sure he accepted it? Rather than he was too cowed to speak up, so he kept the peace? Probably. I'm not upset nobody spoke up. Just that it was apparently an issue to my aunt. People should be able to sit wherever they want. The division of tables between kids and grown-ups is really dumb in the first place the more I think about it. I think it's just about not being at the kids' table more than anything, which I guess is what prompted me to want to sit at the adult table in the first place. Am I the a-hole for refusing to continue X's punishment of our daughter after she told her stepmother she didn't care about her cancer diagnosis? My ex, 42 male, and I, 37 female, share custody of our 13-year-old daughter and 12-year-old son. While I was recovering in the hospital from our son's complicated birth, he left me for his current wife Paula, 35 female. They tried to use my vulnerable and weakened state to get custody of the kids, which luckily failed. The divorce took almost 2 years because my ex and Paula wanted the house he and I shared, and he was trying to insist the house was 100% his when it was not. In the end, the house was sold and we split the money 50-50, which was what I had been waiting for. Custody was 50-50, but with me having sole decision-making abilities, education, and medical. This was because of a fight he engaged in over several things before our divorce was even finalized, and because he admitted he would make decisions with Paula and would not consult me. The judge did not take kindly to that. There was a period starting when our kids were 6 and 7, where I had custody for almost 2 years. My ex and Paula engaged in a ton of parental alienation, attempted to interfere in the kids being in therapy, and went hard on trying to make the kids call Paula mom. They had to engage in co-parenting and parenting classes on top of therapy before unsupervised visitation and later custody were restored. The relationship between my ex and myself remains sour. The relationship between Paula and myself doesn't exist. We hate each other and we avoid each other. I hate my ex too, but that's born more from disgust about how he has put Paula before our kids with his actions. He doesn't care how much their actions hurt them. Our kids do not have a positive relationship with Paula, and my ex has complained about their disrespect of her in the past, but he never provided examples. Recently, this changed, and he wanted me to continue a punishment of our daughter that he set. My ex and Paula tried to have children of their own and have been unsuccessful. Then 2 months ago, Paula was diagnosed with cervical cancer. A few weeks after her diagnosis, my ex and Paula tried to set the kids up to help Paula out around the house and help take care of her when they're with him. Paula said she'd need her babies more than ever, and my daughter told her she wouldn't help, and she doesn't care that Paula has cancer. My ex demanded she apologize, but my daughter refused. He emailed me the next night stating I need to be on his side and ground her for at least 30 days and longer if she refuses to apologize. He said she cannot get away with speaking to Paula that way, and she might as well have wished her dead. He said our son might also need to be punished because he appears to share the sentiment, but did not state it aloud. I told him I would not be grounding our daughter for a month or longer, and he needed to reflect on their behavior to see why she responded as she did, and why our son appears to share the sentiment. I spoke to both kids when they returned to my home. My daughter said she hates that her dad and Paula expect them to care for Paula, when she does everything to be awful to me and never cared if the things said about me hurt her and her brother. She said she was tired of them acting like Paula was their mom. My son said he doesn't want to help Paula, but didn't say anything because he didn't want to be punished. He said Paula used to wish for me to be sick like that, and he didn't think it was fair to ask them to help because of that. My ex has repeatedly emailed me asking if I have grounded our daughter yet. He's name-called and accused me of trying to curse Paula via our kids. He then said I was failing as a mother, that I was letting adult issues turn the kids into awful people. I won't say any of what he said has made me feel guilty, but I suppose I am reflecting on if I'm not doing the best by my kids. For me, their feelings are valid and I don't think they're wrong about how Paula has earned them not wanting to help. But I may just be too close to reasonably assess this. So I'm here asking, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. The key here is that your daughter didn't say it unprompted, or because she even wished Paula ill. She was responding to someone forcing her into being a caretaker and not respecting her boundaries by pretending there's a relationship there. Paula's chickens have come home to roost, and your daughter is not the keeper of her health or feelings. Your husband is bitter that he didn't succeed in replacing you. If I were you, I'd do what they did, use her vulnerable state, and the fact that apparently she is unable to care for herself to revise visitation. Seems like 2 kids in the house is too much for them to deal with at this difficult time. This is a very valid take. OP, you might also bolster any claim you have for additional custody by consulting with a therapist. Your daughter expressed her honest feelings about her stepmother. That doesn't warrant any punishment. Therapy? Maybe. But your kids should not be punished because they dislike her based on her actions and behavior. Your ex wanting to punish your daughter for a month is excessive and unfair. It's not clear how your kids are being asked to help out, but that in itself may be reason for your ex to have less custody. Your kids are the ones who should be cared for. They shouldn't be pushed into being caretakers themselves. If you haven't already done so, begin using the parenting app. Document everything and update your lawyer. Yeah, valid. That way there's a clear record and no chance for him to twist things later. Judges tend to take those logs seriously, so better to keep everything in one place. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-husband that his affair didn't just ruin our marriage, but also broke our family? So my 42 female ex-husband, 40 male, cheated on me about 2 years ago. The affair lasted for almost a year before I found out, and when I did, I immediately filed for divorce. It was messy, but we got through it. We have 2 kids together, 13 female and 10 male. He ended up moving in with the woman he cheated on me with about 6 months after the divorce was finalized. I've done everything I can to encourage the kids to maintain a relationship with their dad, reminding them to call, making sure they pack their stuff for his weekends, even biting my tongue when they come back and complain about her. I never talk badly about him in front of them because I don't want to be that parent. But here's the thing. The kids have gotten colder and colder toward him. At first they were just kind of awkward, but now they don't really engage much when they're with him. They come home and tell me they don't like going over there because dad only cares about her, or dad doesn't listen when we're upset. I keep telling them it's okay to tell him how they feel, but they say he gets defensive or tries to guilt trip them. The other night he called me frustrated, saying, "I don't know why the kids are being so cold and distant. I've tried everything, but they won't warm up. You must be saying something to them." I told him flat out,
I don't badmouth you to the kids. They're old enough to remember what happened and to feel hurt by it. Affairs don't just break marriages, they break families. You made a choice that hurt not just me, but them too. If they're cold, it's because they're still processing that you betrayed our family, not because of anything I said. He got really quiet and then blew up on me, saying I was poisoning the kids against him by reframing the past and that I was cruel for throwing the affair in his face years later. I told him I wasn't reframing anything. It happened. It hurt us all, and the kids are dealing with the fallout whether he likes it or not. Now he's telling mutual friends that I'm manipulating the kids and weaponizing the affair, and some of them think I shouldn't have said that to him because it keeps the wound open. So, am I the a-hole for telling him it's his fault that our kids don't like him anymore? Not the a-hole. This is called paying the consequences of actions. My ex-wife is starting to experience this. Gonna be hard to handle since I was the one who always did it while we were married. But hey, it wasn't me who cheated. And in front of our kids too. May the karma of an STD arrive to haunt her for years to come. It never ceases to amaze me how cheaters will be like, I don't want to rehash the past. They want your protection from their mistake and cannot face the fact that what they did hurt everyone. It's not your responsibility to make it easier for him beyond what you are already doing. It's his fault, period. Kids are not dumb. You do not owe him your fealty. He had that, and he destroyed that. What is the reframe he speaks of? He had a year-long affair. Is he delusional? You've done nothing wrong. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. He's refusing to accept the find out part after he literally effed around. Move to a court-approved parenting app for all communications. You don't deserve to be abused, and you are no longer responsible for his relationship with his kids or his grown-up feelings. Update. Am I the a-hole for acting like a maid at my sister's house after she gave birth? Original post. My sister, 39 female, just had twins 2 weeks ago via C-section. If you've ever been around someone recovering from a C-section, you know it's basically major abdominal surgery. She's exhausted, sore, still bleeding, and trying to figure out life with 2 newborns. Her husband, 32 male, has been less than helpful. He keeps telling her that since his job is too hard and busy, she needs to handle everything at home. Cleaning, laundry, cooking, and of course, taking care of 2 babies. She called me crying one night because she was overwhelmed, so I went over the next day. Now I didn't go to hold babies or play fun aunt. I know my sister. She cannot stand clutter or mess, and her house was stressing her out on top of everything else. So I cleaned, organized, folded laundry, loaded the dishwasher, wiped down counters, vacuumed, and even prepped a couple of meals for her. I told her not to worry about lifting a finger. She cried again, this time from gratitude. She kept saying how much it helped her mental health just to have a clean space while she heals. Here's the problem. Her husband came home and was livid. Not at me, but at her. He accused her of making him look bad because I came over and did everything he thinks she should be doing. He literally said, "She's the mom, not you. You're just acting like a maid." For the record, my sister didn't even ask me to do all that. I did it because I could see she needed help. She defended me, told him she's still healing, and reminded him that doctors literally told her not to lift heavy things or overexert herself yet. He brushed it off and doubled down that she should suck it up because everyone else manages. Now there's tension in their house. My sister keeps thanking me, but her husband's icy with her and making snide comments like, "Don't worry, your maid will handle it." I feel awful because the last thing I wanted to do was make things worse for her. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I hope your sister leaves that idiot of a husband. That's sad to hear the complete lack of support. Honestly, is there a way for your sister to come to your home while she recovers? You can be sure that she isn't getting to rest and recover when you're not at their place. Her husband would be demanding she cook for him and look after him instead of recovering from surgery and prioritizing herself and the twins. I am genuinely worried about her safety. I was thinking the same thing. As someone who's had 2 C-sections, this guy can rot. Her insides were literally out of her body. I hope for her sake she gets some help staying somewhere else for the time being. Now for the update. Hi everyone, thanks for all the comments on my original post. A few days have passed and things escalated quickly. The next day after I posted, I packed up my sister and the twins and moved them into my house. She is now staying in my master bedroom so she has space, privacy, and an ensuite, and I moved into my guest room. Now about her husband, he's a doctor, which makes it even worse that he's been acting like her C-section recovery's no big deal. So yesterday I went down to his hospital. I told the nurses and the receptionists everything he's been doing and not doing at home. I wasn't screaming or anything, just very loudly sharing stories in places where a lot of people could overhear. Like how Dr. X thinks his wife should scrub floors while she's still bleeding from abdominal surgery. Let's just say his co-workers now know he's a lot better at prescribing rest than actually supporting it. After that, I called his mom. For context, she and I are really close. We're basically the same person in different ages. I told her every single detail. What he did, what he hasn't done, what he said, and what he hasn't said. Glad to say she was not impressed. And I didn't stop there. With my parents' help, I told the rest of the family, close relatives, extended family, cousins, everybody. I literally spent the whole day calling and updating people about my brother-in-law's behavior. If he wanted my sister to feel humiliated and unsupported, well, now he gets to feel it too. Yes, I know what I did was a total bitch move. But sometimes two negatives make a positive. It even says so in math. So here's the update I'm sure many of you are waiting for, and I hope I was petty enough for all of you potatoes. I actually think that was an incredibly wise move. When I read your original post, I suspected that he either already was, or had the potential to become abusive. Abuse and risk levels spike when a woman leaves or attempts to. Making it public knowledge who he is and what he does offered your sister a certain amount of safety in shedding light on him. And frankly, either way, if he wasn't comfortable with his behavior being public knowledge, then he shouldn't have been comfortable with it in private either. I support this level of petty. Those nurses will spread it fast throughout his work too, and give him so much grief. Your sister must be so much more relaxed now. My sister is a nurse and can confirm they will spread it like wildfire. Last story. Am I the a-hole for rejecting my deadbeat father's wife's attempt to bring me and my sister into their family? My sister, 19 female, and I, 17 male, were raised by our single mom. Our father was a deadbeat who left when mom was pregnant with me, and he's got $50,000 of child support debt and counting toward me. My sister and I used to see him places when we were kids. It's a small town and he never left, and neither did mom. He'd just quit jobs and go to jail rather than pay support or be a dad. It was probably a year ago when my sister told me she saw him with a woman and kids. My sister and I were like WTF, and then we both saw him another day with just the kids. It was weird. Another time, all three of us saw them. We were all in the same diner at the same time, and he was acting like a parent for the first time ever. The woman with him noticed us watching, and it was a few weeks after that, she stopped me and my sister and introduced herself, and tried to start a relationship between us all. She had met Dad online and they were married by then, and he was the most wonderful stepdad to her kids. She approached me and my sister a few times on our own too, when her first attempt at starting a relationship failed. A couple of times, she told us he'd be more willing to get the child support back payments paid if we had a relationship. One time I got really far from her before she could get closer to me because she had one of her kids with her, and I didn't want to start anything in front of kids. Last week she approached me on my own again and told me how sad it would be for us not to be a family. She said my father would be adopting her kids in November, and she'd love me and my sister to come, and we could be a family. I asked her why she thinks either of us would want to know the family he chose to be with, and why we'd want to see him be a father to kids who aren't even his, over his actual kids. I told her she's wasting her time and pissing us off, and she needs to stay the heck away from us. She tried to yell at me, but I walked away. I did hear her say something like I didn't need to be rude to her when she was trying to be nice. Like I said, I was focused on getting away from her. But maybe I was harsh? I don't know. I think saying something once is whatever, but to keep trying is way too much. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your father is an a-hole. Just because he wants to reinvent himself with a new wife and children does not negate your lived experience without him as a father, nor providing financial support for you and your sister. It seems that you have communicated to this woman that you are not interested, that there is nothing he can do to make up for his years of absence, and a failure to provide for the children that is sired. And if you're being rude, it's because she was rude first by ignoring your previous statements and feelings about not wanting to reconnect with your dad. She is probably trying to rationalize in her mind bringing a person of poor character like your father into her children's life, now that she has knowledge of what kind of father he wasn't in his own children's lives. The fact he hasn't approached them himself and sent his mouthpiece shows how small his balls are. Not the a-hole. She's a massive a-hole and has been harassing you. You'd said no plenty of times. And she wants you to stay polite? Tell her to stay in her freaking lane. Love how she says your father will pay child support if he has a relationship. That is not how it works. He pays regardless. What's especially telling is that it's her trying to speak to you and not even your trash father. He should pay regardless, but we're just waiting for him to quit his job to be a stay-at-home dad while his wife is the breadwinner. It wouldn't be too hard to believe he'll go to jail again before paying at a faster rate.